Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Marlene. Good
You're
evening,
welcome.
everyone. Again, thank you for everyone that was on the call waiting. My name is Marissa Mack, Chair of the Economic Development and Culture Committee. Thank you guys for adjusting your schedules to have this on Friday night. I had a conflict later in the week, so thank you guys for joining us. So before we get started, there are a few ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. CB11 members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand through Zoom. If you click the participant icon, the participants panel should appear and you should find the raise hand function there. If you still have technical difficulties, you may click the chat icon and relay your difficulty to the staff. Board members, the chat function should not be used for CB11 business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat should only be used to alert us to any technical difficulties you are having or to state in writing information like an email address that was already stated aloud on the recording during the meeting. Please keep your questions and comments distinct and germane to the discussion. Members of the public, if you have a question or comment about the subject on the agenda, please raise your hand through Zoom and wait to be recognized. So I am now calling this meeting to order at 6:40 p.m. Marlene, if you could do the roll call, please, that'd be great.
Sure. Adem Briha,
Here.
Eva Chan, James Horton,
Here.
Marissa Mack,
Here.
Giselle Malave,
Here.
Jennifer Meyer,
Here.
Roberto Perez,
Here.
Vinny Torres, Jenny Tromsky, and Nye Whitaker.
Here.
You have quorum, Marissa.
Thank you, Marlene. So if there are no objections, I'm moving to adopt the agenda. So I do not see any raised hands, so the agenda is adopted. Additionally, if there are no questions regarding minutes, I am moving to adopt the minutes that were presented earlier today. If you object, raise your hand. If not, we'll move forward with the minutes. Okay, the minutes are adopted. So I would like to just make a few announcements before we get started. So on a not so light note, just wanted to make reference to two events that happened and just ask those that are on this call that are disconnected spiritually to think about everything that's going on right now. There was a stabbing at the McDonald's on 117th Street. And there was also a female who jumped on the 135th Street bridge, and I believe she was hit by a car. I'm not sure of her condition right now, but there's just a lot going on within our community. I think I've said this for the last few calls that we have, or meetings that we've had, and that's because things are continually happening throughout our community, and I think just throughout our city overall. Just bringing light to that, us to just be aware as we're moving around, just to think about, everything that's going on. I do think that some of this might be a result of what has happened throughout the pandemic and what is going on. Also, these things were happening even before that time, but just wanting to bring light to, some of the things that are going on throughout our community that are sad, that are bringing a heaviness to my heart, but just wanting everyone to just kind of be aware of what's going on and to pay attention of the state of not only the city, but I think, just like the country overall at this time. So just wanted to note that and just make that point. On a lighter note, though, for our board, we will be working with the Legal Aid Society and CB10, hopefully 12 and 9, to bring forth an informational session for small businesses on things that they need to know in terms of any legal advice, legal information as they move forward. This was something that Legal Aid actually approached us about and thought would be great to have during this time. So we are, again, moving forward with that. A date has not been set. But it will be an offering for both East and West Harlem combined, and just waiting for 9 and 12 actually to sign on to that. So that's an offering for our community. Jackie and Carrie, happy to also hear from you in regards to that. And if you would like to partner as well, please let us know. The Caribbean Cultural Center, we our support for, happy to report that they will be moving into the 1 East 125th Street building, which is great for a number of reasons, obviously because of their connection to the culture and arts of our community, but also for their involvement with that development overall. And so hoping to see them kind of loop in some of the artists from the community into not only their offerings and their programming, but also figuring out a way that that can be displayed throughout the building there overall. So that's great news, and looking forward to hearing more about that and what that looks like for their organization. We have 2 letters that are pending. Hopefully by the end of this month, they will be finalized. Both letters we voted on creating during our last meeting. The first letter is on the quality of life issues as it relates to economic development in our community, and the other letter is to cap fines for small businesses. So those are in the works right now and are being developed. And before the end of the month, we should have more information about that. Harlem Restaurant Week, I will not steal the shine of Uptown Grand Central or Union Settlement, but that is upon us. Extremely happy about that. So that's an opportunity for all of us to get out and patronize the businesses within this community, get out and eat. Hopefully the weather is getting a little bit better. The restrictions have been lifted. So, please go out and support our small businesses. There's 2 more items. I did want to note, I'm not sure who has seen the documentary, but Summer of Soul, which actually took place on the border of, say, East and West Harlem, right at Mount Morris Park. It's a documentary that was put forth by Questlove, the drummer of the notorious band The Roots. Has been nominated for an Oscar. The City Museum of New York actually a few weeks ago also did a screening on this incredible documentary. So that's a little bit of history from our area that took place, and it's pretty cool to see that this documentary is being nominated for an Oscar. And then last but not least, on March 28th, I will be going out with Henry Chen from the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce to hand out flyers within the community. Jackie and Carrie, I will connect with you later to see what are the areas you feel have not been as touched or need a little bit more engagement for some of the information that they have to offer. So if anyone wants to join me, we will be doing that after 5 p.m. or at 5 p.m. March 28th, which is a Monday, just to get more information out to our small businesses about different resources for the community. And that is it. So I am going to, Marlene, if you can go to the next slide. I think our first presentation will be from Uptown Grand Central. Carrie, you are up.
Thank you, Marissa. And I know we have a lot on the agenda, so I won't keep us too long. But just to follow up on what you said, it is Harlem Restaurant Week until March 27th. And we have 15 businesses from East Harlem participating. What is really cool about this this version of Harlem Restaurant Week is that it's highlighting not only the restaurants, but also experiences that you can have. So also included in Harlem Restaurant Week is the Museum of the City of New York. James is on this call, and El Museo. And then also the Africa Center has the new exhibit by MoFad, the Museum of Food and Drink. And it's really cool if you haven't seen that exhibit. It's the history of Black food and it includes the Ebony Test Kitchen. So the original kitchen from the headquarters of Ebony magazine, and it's super psychedelic and amazing if you go see that. But so we have lots of good representation from East Harlem. Yet again in Harlem Restaurant Week. So I'll drop that website into the chat so that during the meeting everybody can start planning their experiences and their menus. And then, so that's the fun note. On a more serious note, at the last meeting I mentioned that I'm sitting on the district attorney's task force about shoplifting. The numbers are not great. At the last meeting, NYPD announced that they've found at least 500 individuals who last year shoplifted 3 or more times in significant amounts. And those numbers are definitely low because a lot of shoplifting is not reported. Most shoplifting is not reported. So that task force continues to meet and is probably going to start to organize smaller little groups. So I'll be pulling together in East Harlem, a small, tiny East Harlem group. I think they want 10 people or less, 10 businesses or less, but they're starting to work on possible solutions for how to address the shoplifting issue. And then, as you mentioned, the violence is still very disconcerting. In addition to what you said, Uptown Veg was robbed last week. And we just continue to hear of various things that are happening that are not great. The mayor did visit 125th Street at the end of February, which some of you guys might have seen. And a whole bunch of elected officials came with him. It was organized by the Congressman Espaillat. And so, we were waiting to see what follow-up happens from that. But he came and he saw the conditions, and that was helpful. Also with 125th Street, our cleanup corps continues. We currently have 40 people cleaning East 125th Street, which is very, very helpful. We did find out that they're going to be phasing the program out. So starting in April, we'll lose about half of them. And by the end of June, we'll lose all of them. So we're going to have to go back to our previous setup of Town Grand Central, which is having, instead of having the city back us up, we'll go back to just what we can fundraise for and support, which will still be good, but not as good as 40. So that's on the horizon too. And we're trying to figure out how to address that, because the city inputs were really helpful. And then, like I said, I'm not going to keep you too long, but the last thing is I just got a new shipment of rapid test kits. So we're going to be getting those out to the small businesses. And if you know of any small businesses that don't know about Uptown Grand Central or Union Settlement, let them know, and we can get them the test kits. In terms of cultural events, is the last thing. We do have Harlem 1958 is coming up. East 126th Street is where the original jazz picture was taken in 1958 on the stoop. Everybody knows that it's the black and white picture of all the jazz musicians sitting on the stoop. And the street was going to be renamed last year, but it was a very, very hot day, so that ceremony was postponed. But we're working with Jazzmobile, so that'll probably be sometime in June. Still working on that. And then also Make Music New York is coming up in June, and we're going to be working with a lot of drummers to put on a big drumming for peace event. That'll be June 21st. So that's it for me. I'm going to be quiet because I know Jackie's on and Pablo's on, and we've been working a lot together on restaurant resiliency, which I'm sure they're going to talk about. So I'm going to be quiet and pass the torch.
So before you do, and before Jackie, you jump in, I just have 2 quick questions for you, Carrie. So one, I know you mentioned more, so thank you so much for being our representative for the task force. The DA was actually at the public service meeting earlier and talked a little bit about that. So thank you for serving on behalf of our community. Is there any talks about the crime and the safety specifically? So I know that you guys have been talking about shoplifting, but has there been any talks about additional cameras, safety for businesses that are open after 12. Because again, that the incident that happened at McDonald's, I think was like at 12 a.m., similar to the Burger King, like, is there anything that you guys are talking about in regards to safety for businesses specifically?
That task force is mostly centered around the district attorney's response. So it's like, what can the district attorney's office do in terms of once someone has committed that crime, what can be done? Jackie and I had the last merchant meeting was with NYPD, with the 2-3 and the 2-5. And I think there's a Mexican Merchants Association that is, I think they're also going to try to have a separate meeting with NYPD. But yeah, that continues to be a struggle is crime prevention. NYPD does have each precinct has an officer that can actually go to the business and do a one-on-one intervention and see, well, maybe you should point your cameras this way. Maybe you should think about arranging the cash register this way, or have a barrier here, or, this is going to block your line of sight if somebody's trying to get in. So we're trying to connect the businesses with NYPD when possible, but it does remain to be a challenge.
Thank you. And then just one other question, Naya, I see you just give me 1 minute. I just wanted to ask regarding the cleanup, because that's been such a huge benefit to just the look and feel of 125th Street, with everything else going on. Is there anything, in terms of like petition, or are there any grants, like, what that's been, in terms of that area, whatever we can do to make it the best that it can be, that's what we want. And I feel like you guys have been a huge help in that. So, I'm sad to see that go, but also wondering, like what else we can do to support that initiative, because it's been, really helpful for the look and feel of that community.
Thank you. And I may be coming back to you to ask for a support letter or something. The Cleanup Corps was a de Blasio initiative, and with the turn of the administrations, things always kind of change in priorities. And also it's funded by it's a COVID recovery program. So it was kind of always intended to be short-lived, I think. We're trying to get a little bit more information, because I think some of the city agencies that have served as placement sites will be keeping some of their Cleanup Corps. And I think it's just the nonprofits that are kind of not keeping them. So we're going to keep doing research on how to, what needs to be done, if anything can be done. And I will definitely be asking you for a support letter if we can see a path.
No, absolutely. And I think the fact that the mayor was here and doing a walkthrough, he saw it in a good condition, right? And so it's like, look, if you see it like this, you want to keep it like this, then maybe there's some like leverage there to at least, do that. So we'll talk further, but just wanted to mention that. Nai, thank you for your patience. Go ahead.
And thank you now for the shout out in the chat.
Always. Hi, you guys. How are you? Just two things. And actually, it was in the same vein, Marissa, as you were talking, I actually shared earlier today an email with Carrie in Uptown Grand Central, because Council Member Eric Botcher was able to secure $54,000 in additional funding for street cleanup and sanitation for his district. And I think it would be important for us to brainstorm how we could possibly leverage that to apply some either pressure and or work with, our council members to replicate that. So, I know that Julie Menon has already extended as kind of the smaller part of our district. She's fired up and she's been getting a lot of home runs in her district. And I know I've connected her to Carrie. But I think that we need to talk about, how these new city council members in other districts are coming in full force to address some of the issues that existed in their communities, but then were exacerbated by the pandemic. And as one of the communities that was hardest hit, we cannot allow this, crisis to not be an opportunity for us. And so I think, we may need to think more strategically about how we move forward to address these things. That cleanup crew has been amazing. It feels safer. It looks brighter. It looks cleaner. I know that there are still other issues going on, but it's going to take us combating this from multiple levels for it to be successful. And I think that if we let the cleanup crews go, it's gonna, further be a detriment to the store owners and to their customers. So just wanted to raise that, other districts and other leaders are moving forward and being very successful in securing it. And we might want to start reaching out to them to figure out how we can replicate that in our own backyards.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nye, for that information. Sorry, Carrie, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just gonna say thank you, Nav, for that, because it does seem almost impossible that we would go backwards. Seeing, I never in my life thought that East 125th Street would be clean. Like, I would say that most people on this call would also agree with me. They never would think that East 125th Street could be clean. And yet in the past 6 months, it's been clean. I mean, it's a miracle. So since we now know how to fix it, we know that if we have enough resources, it can be clean. So it's not rocket science. We just need the resources. So thank you, Nye, for that. Shout out support.
Let's follow up with that. But yeah, absolutely. We've seen that. Jennifer?
Hi, yes, and sorry for my brevity. I just got my wisdom teeth out, so I'm struggling a bit. But I just wanted to echo the cleanup crew on 125th. I live on 125th, and I think, for residents, that's an angle that's often missed, is we appreciate them so much, and anything I can do to help them stay greatly appreciated. And like I said, I mean, the street being clean is wonderful, but also just seeing their familiar faces and having them constantly there is an extra layer of safety when safety is definitely something that's been more of a concern in the neighborhood lately. So please let me know if there's anything I can do from my end as well.
Thank you, guys. This is amazing.
Yes, so absolutely loop you in. So thank you, Carrie, for your work, and we'll be in contact in regards to what we can do around that specifically. But we will also hopefully see you out and about during Restaurant Week this week as well. So thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Jackie, and I think Pablo is here as well.
Yeah.
Yes, hello.
Pablo, do you want to talk about restaurant resiliency, the advocacy, or I have a few things at Buy Local, but I could speak about it unless you wanted to speak about it first.
We'll do both. Let me start with the restaurant resiliency program, and you can complete on the advocacy side, of it. What has happened? Well, good evening, everyone. And just to compact the presentation is that most of the effort that we've been dedicating from the Business Development Center of Union Settlement is trying to have the restaurant resiliency program refunded. For those who are not aware of the program, this is a meal distribution program funded by New York State, dedicated to all restaurants in the state, and as a means to provide free quality foods to low-income family in the state. East Harlem was not strange to the program, and about 10 or 12, 10 restaurants qualified for that program back in November. And it's a kind of cumbersome program. By the time everybody got ready to start cooking, money ran out and the program stopped. That was like early in January. What we're trying to do is trying to have it refunded so those who did the legwork to be ready to start selling can incorporate into the process, and those who are not yet ready has some more time also to participate. The program works. Food is being delivered across the neighborhood, and the restaurants who are participating can stay open and continue working and hiring personnel. Jackie, if you wanted also elaborate in the portion that we've been doing to advocate for it and have it refunded, feel free.
Sure. And Carrie and Giselle, please feel free to add anything that I'm missing. Yes, we are right now working with state representatives on advocacy. The last we heard, it's sort of complicated because we haven't heard anything since last week, but the last we heard, the Assembly had put it in their one house budget, and the state was supposed to put it in their one house budget, and it was supposed to be voted on today. it may be voted on tomorrow. We'll probably get an update tomorrow, but it sounds as if it will get into the One House budget. Whether or not that means it'll make it into the final budget, we don't know. So, but right now, there's a lot of support. There are, as I'm sure everybody, may or may not remember, when Robert Rodriguez was in the assembly, he was the one who championed this last year. He got it put into the state budget, and he followed through and everything. Right now, there are, we're trying to get a lot more senators on board now. I think Cordell Clear is on board right now, and I think I think Eddie Gibbs is on board. But outside of our Assembly and Senate members in East Harlem, there are definitely there's a lot of Assembly support, and there's some Senate support. So hopefully we'll find out within the next 2 days whether or not it is in the budget, and whether or not we should continue advocating for it, and whether or not it's going to be in the final budget. And they are also working on separate bills, separate Assembly bill and a separate Senate bill, to make the program permanent. And that's literally all the information we have. We don't know where they are right now with that. Which makes, I'm sorry, not permanent, it'll make the program, it'll make funding long-term. How long that funding long-term will be, we don't know, but that's what they're working on now. I don't know, Carrie or Giselle, did you want to add anything? I have some buy local events that I just want to go over. No?
I just wanted to add something quickly, Jackie. I'm not sure if, because I signed, but I'm not sure if we actually been able to get other signatures from the board. But it seems like now you guys are already off to connecting with Assembly, and local elected officials. So that might not necessarily be something that you need to do, but I would encourage, if possible, to also, and I don't mind pushing it to them too, but the people that are for office too, as they may have some additional, even though they're not yet in that political realm. But there are a couple of people that are running right now that I'm sure would be helpful in terms of support and push on that initiative as well.
Okay, thank you, Marissa. It's a great suggestion. But just know, as far as the budget is concerned, the One House budget is concerned, that's due now. And the primary, I think, is not until June. So this has to be done now. But thank you. Yes, it's a good it's obviously a very good suggestion. Okay, as far as I just have a bunch of buy local events coming up. I have a cash mob coming up at El Barista on 3rd Avenue on April 3rd. We're co-sponsoring with Metro Hope Church. It's Sunday at 1 o'clock. And then I have a bunch of pop-ups that I'm scheduling. I won't tell you all of them because they're a little bit in the future. But the first pop-up is going to be at Zapata on on May 15th. We don't have a lot of space. We only have space for 5 vendors. So we'll have 5 vendors there. And then I scheduled the East Harlem Nights in the Union Settlement Garden for June 10th. And as you may or may not remember, we have a room for about 20 vendors there. And out of those vendors, I would say about 6 of them are going to be food and beverage, and the other 15 or whatever, or the other 14 are going to be artisanal vendors. I'll have an application link and I'll send it out next week. And I want to, give everybody in East Harlem a chance to at least sell. So I may have to not re-invite people that were there last year in order to accommodate new people. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. And I have a bunch of pop-ups coming up after that I won't get into in July. And I'm going to try to schedule a couple more into August. Okay, and then finally, I just want to say this one thing. I don't know, Giselle may have brought this up in the last month's meeting. I wasn't here. A lot of us have been hacked on our Instagram accounts, and a lot of people from East Harlem. Our accounts have been hacked. They've been sending stuff to our accounts in order to, links in order to trick everybody into opening it. I got a link, I didn't open it, but I know a lot of people did. I know a lot of people lost their accounts. So this is just a warning. Please keep your heads up. Please do not click on any links. For whatever reason, this, a lot of East Harlem residents, a lot of East Harlem businesses, and a lot of East Harlem people who, I was sent a couple of faux links, and my name appeared, on other people's accounts. So please just be careful with what you're doing, and if you do get something, please report it. And if you get something from me, it's not me.
All right, thank you, Jackie. Thank you. Absolutely, thank you for that. And we'll look out. Sorry, Pablo. I'm just wrapping up with Jackie to ask her to send out the flyers for the different pop-ups and events that you have coming up.
Yes, I will. I'm working with Ezekiel Tavares. He works with JVS with Julio. Excuse me. They have a JVS project space on 108th Street. I'm working with him, except he can only do one flyer at a time. And he just finished the cash mob flyer. So as soon as I have all that, don't worry, you'll have it. But it's not gonna be for at least another month.
Thank you. Okay. We'll forward as it comes.
Okay, yes, don't worry, Marissa, I have you, don't worry.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Are there any questions for Jackie before we move on to Pablo?
I wanted to add, I'm sorry, for Jackie.
Go ahead, no, I'm finished, Pablo, go ahead.
Oh, yes, no, because I'm going to change the subject. I wanted to ask about the storefront subject, the storefront survey that we are conducting. It's almost done. And I just wanted to mention that so far, the most interesting outcome is that I've seen a lot of grocery stores closing all over the neighborhood, all over East Harlem. And I don't know if I'm missing some kind of new regulation or something, if anybody knows anything, but it is massive. I see a lot of them closing. We didn't see them closing during the pandemic, during the worst of the pandemic. And then in the last 3 months, they're closing all over the place. Anybody has any idea what's going on? Anybody has noticed that?
Happening, honestly, Pablo, like throughout the city, even not even just in this area, but there are areas that I go to throughout the city, various times on the weekends. One weekend they're open, the next they're closed. I think it's just businesses may be running out of, their reserve or what have you. I think it could be like a number of things, but I don't know that it's just specific. I don't have the answer, but I don't know that it's specific just to this area, unfortunately.
Okay. And one final comment is that we also, by March 31st, will close application period for the awning raffle, for the 2022 awning raffle. And we're gonna be raffling 3 or 4 more brand new awnings for merchants who need it, those who need a full replacement. So if you have your favorite business who has a crappy and lousy awning, please direct them to our Instagram page where they can get the link to apply. It's a free application, and March 31st we'll be drawing 3 winners for that.
Pablo, do you have a flyer for that? I have not seen. I didn't even know that was happening. Do you guys? I do have a flyer. Well, I mean, for not necessarily in the house, but for you to share with us via email, if possible.
I know.
Okay.
It's printed. It's printed for the businesses. When I do that, when I go around and I see somebody with a bad awning, I give them a flyer, inviting them to participate. But I have it digitally, and I'll be glad to share it with you, Melissa.
Okay, perfect. Please, thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate that. And then just one last question quickly before we move on. In regards to the grant program that you guys have been putting together, I know that you were speaking about that for a few months previously. Is that in the motion, or where are you guys? Is it kind of like on hold, or what? Either grant or low interest loan.
Yeah, it wouldn't be.
It's not gonna be a grant.
Okay.
That I can tell you for sure. We're strongly considering to develop a kind of a sustainable micro business loan program.
Mhm.
But it's very complex. I'm not expecting it to come out within the next 3-6 months,
Okay.
but we are working on that actively, putting together terms and conditions and asking around on best practices to see if we can put a comprehensive program that would help the community, the micro businesses basically, because small businesses, most of them, they can get a bank loan, the micro businesses cannot. And this program would be oriented specifically to the micro businesses.
Okay, well, yes, keep us posted. I know that we spoke about this, and I know it's in the works, so just wanted to see where you guys were, with that initiative. So thank you for the update. Vinny?
Mhm.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So Pablo, on the awnings for merchants, does that include non-for-profit entities as well, or is it specific to just for-profit?
No, it is for profits only, Vinny.
Thank you. And I'm assuming
Mhm.
that's the same case for the microloans, correct?
Yes, so far, yes. The way it is devised as of now is only for for-profit business.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, thank you. Pablo and Jackie will be looking out for some flyers on some of the initiatives that you have going on. And also before Kyle leaves, I want to say hi to him. He's a special guest with Carrie on our call. And now we are gonna move along. So, hi. Yes, thank you. So, we're going to have an informational update. Thank you so much, Ty and Alexis, for waiting. We are going to do an informational update on the Classical Theater of Harlem. We spoke with them a few months ago. I'm looking forward to hearing, where you guys are in terms of programming and upcoming events. So, Alexis and Ty, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I'm Ty Jones. I'm the producing artistic director of the Classical Theater of Harlem. My partner here is Alexis Marnell, our development manager, and I think our general manager is on this call as well too, Michael Wyndham. I was wondering, may I have permission to share my screen?
Yes, absolutely. And Marlene, if
Wow.
you could also advance, I'm sorry, who was the guest?
I'm sorry?
You said you have a guest here as well?
No, I just named the two people who were with us.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
Alexis
And Michael.
I see him here. Okay, hi, how are you? Okay, go ahead.
And what I wanted to do, just in case for those of you who don't know Classical Theater of Harlem, is to give you just a 60-second sizzle reel of some of the stuff that we've done at Marcus Garvey Park. So I think everyone here is probably of the same mind that we all believe that arts are directly connected to economic development, and we think that there's a fantastic opportunity this summer as things are opening up that we can bring vendors to Marcus Garvey Park during the month of July when we do our production of Twelfth Night. For anybody who doesn't know, Twelfth Night is essentially this really fast-paced Shakespeare romantic comedy with several interwoven plots of romance and mistaken identities and all these practical jokes. And it'll be directed by our Associate Artistic Director, Carl Cofield, who is also the chair of the grad acting program at NYU. Just to kind of let you know how I think excited not only is Harlem, but some other folks as well. We plan on remounting this show in the spring of 2023 at the Skirball Center for the Performing Arts. So we're really excited about essentially having this all start in Harlem and hopefully be able to share audiences throughout the entire island itself. Okay, I wanted to give you guys just a little taste of some of the work that we've done in the summertime.
And are you okay
I'm
to share?
about to share. Yeah, I'm going to share that real quick. I apologize. Yep. Hopefully you guys can see my screen now. All right.
I am seeing your email.
All right, you guys are not seeing the
Not seeing the videos.
Okay.
Your,
let me
your
try-
Gmail.
Yes, complete screen.
Okay, let me try that again. Ah, there we go. Hopefully you're seeing it now.
Yeah.
All righty,
Yep.
here we go. Let's take two. Take two. You don't get take twos in theater, but you know, maybe
And
maybe
this
in
was
Zoom.
on the card for you, so you're okay. Yeah.
All right, here we go. So our summer production, like I said, will be 12th night. The opportunity that's here that we are excited about bringing back. We've done this before the pandemic. Is let me start off by giving an example. Hopefully, you guys during the summertime have been to Herald Square, 34th and 6th Avenue, where they have a number of shops that they've opened up. They line the floor with these soft ground and stuff like that. Also, a good example, although I have to admit this is one of a high-profile example, is the Winter Garden at the Bank of America Winter Garden at Bryant Park, where they have a number of shops that line the that line the pathways. I would love for us to one day get to a place where we could do something very similar during the month of July, where we have those vendors set up along the pathways of Marcus Garvey Park as a destination event to come see the production of 12th Night or whatever production that we're doing in that July. I'm gonna let Alexis take over. One of the things we wanted to let you know is that we've always been about art, and of course we've always been about commerce. We believe that the foot traffic that comes into the park that goes to local businesses, and what better way to even highlight some of our local businesses is through a vendor program. Just to let you guys know, the mission for CTH is to maintain this professional theater company that's dedicated to returning classics to Harlem. We want to create employment and educational outreach opportunities through the theater arts. We want to create that and nurture a new, young, culturally diverse audience for the classics. We want to heighten the awareness of theater and great art in Harlem. And of course, all that would be tied to increasing dollars to our local businesses as well. One of the things that we did do is that we actually brought in a consultant to see what kind of impact it had on local businesses. So we usually have audiences, depending on weather, of course, anywhere between 10 to 15,000 attendees from a variety of ethnic, geographic, generational, socioeconomic backgrounds. And according to this report, it was called the Arts and Economic Prosperity Report. We bring in an estimated $435,000 in neighborhood spending during the summer months. So with that said, I want to turn it over to Alexis. She might be able to speak a little bit more in detail about the vendor program and the ideas behind that. Alexis?
Hi, everybody. So some of you got an email from me earlier. I had been speaking to Nicoa Evans from Harlem Park to Park, and we're talking about the best way to activate the pop-up program that benefits, the neighborhood that Marcus Garvey Park is in. So she suggested that each organization have a weekend. So it would be perhaps Union Street Settlement, July 8th through 10th, Harlem Park to Park, July 15th through 17th, and then Carrie, I don't know if you got that email. Uptown Grand Central, July 22nd through the 24th. This is a good way to start off coming full back from the pandemic and helping businesses and entrepreneurs and local artisans reactivate their personal economy and therefore reactivating the neighborhood economy. So we're very much looking forward to crafting this and getting this off the ground with everybody. That's it.
I think just to give you a little bit of an image of it, other than the ones that I gave you about Bryant Park and Herald Square, the idea, at least uptown, is to essentially have like a 10 by 10 space with a little tent, and you would have your wares underneath that tent, and it's really that simple. I believe that the teams that Alexis mentioned would be able to give you the details on how to become one of those vendors on any one of those weekends, and the details of when to set up, when the breakdown, things of that nature.
So thank you.
That concludes our presentation. Any questions?
Well, thank you both for presenting and coming back to us to provide some information. And I think that idea is great. We did receive the email to have a smaller conversation, I guess, Union Settlement, and then also Uptown Grand Central and Harlem Park to see what that looks like. So we'll follow up with that separately. I just wanted to know, so I know we're looking at the business portion of it. How many vendors are you looking to have, or is that something that we still would want to flesh out through a future meeting?
I think I'd love as many as we possibly could get, but I think the best way to do that, Nakoa did this one year, so I think she'd be the perfect person to talk to about how she could expand upon what was done the previous years, or the previous year that we did this. So I think it's best to just go through her and then build off of that.
Absolutely. Okay. And then my second question, and we had briefly spoke about this before. I know that we didn't really touch on it for this meeting, but what has the idea and the, I guess, the push around also internships and jobs? So I know that we had spoken about that, and you know, I also had connected you, I believe, with our chair of youth and education.
No, I hadn't. I didn't get that.
Oh, I sent an email connecting you, and then also, I guess, asking kind of like the breakdown. I believe Ty had sent some information on the
Right, yeah.
positions. So we can circle back on that, but just wanted to, I guess, also get some color around the internships and jobs available as well, if you had any updates on that.
One thing I did want to say is it will be for 18 to 24-year-olds because insurance wise, that's what we can do. But I know that through the Summer Youth Employment Program, it goes from ages 14 to 24. So I know Ty, he spoke about having a general management intern, somebody in development, social media and marketing, and production and wardrobe. So Marissa, as we spoke about on that call we had a few months back, this is really internships for young adults that are interested in the theater arts.
Okay, great.
So I also, sorry to interrupt here real quick. I do recall, Marissa, you giving us that email. So what, Alexis, I'm gonna put you in charge of just trying to circle back with Marissa to get the information that she needs to share with her network. Okay.
No problem.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think everything that you provided was good. I think for us, in terms of us seeing how we can get that information out to our community, if you could package it up in somewhat of a flyer or something of that nature with contact information and just a little bit more information, then we can share it out and then hopefully get individuals from this community that might be able to partnership for a specific job. And then I think my second question to you, also job related, because I think we kind of have the pop-ups. I think that's going to work itself out and that'll be great. Job relating, do you guys have a connection with Summer Youth Employment? Because I think some of that vetting they may be able to do, and that's where the connection for David came in. But then if not, then we may be able to connect you with someone from there so that that's kind of a lift off of you
That's what, yeah,
So that was.
that's
that
what
was
I had
also-
wanted to ask, yeah.
That was, yeah, that was in the email too, I think, to you guys, just to see where you were with that and what you needed help in regards to moving forward with that.
I mean, I've done SEP on my own, but I also did it with cloth. So if we could work with an agency, that would be wonderful. If you could connect us with an agency, that would be the best bet.
Okay. Right, okay. So I will follow up and, yeah, if I might be able to forward you that email again. I think Tyra
Yeah.
received it, but I will forward it to you, as well, just so that we can get the ball rolling, because I know
That
summer's
would be
like
wonderful.
summer. And I think it's great. You guys were able to, I believe, offer Metro cards for and volunteers, which I think is great. And then for jobs, then we'll look to see, you know, how we can vet that as well. But this is great. This is great. Thank you guys. So I am going to acknowledge our community board chair, Xavier.
You can let the other committee members go first, and then
Okay.
I'll ask my question. Thank you.
Okay, Vinny.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So great presentation, guys. A lot of great information. Question, Ty, on the theater company. I think you guys are maybe the only or one of the only above 96th Street theater companies. Do you guys often do any collaborations with and have in the past with the National Black Theater here in our district? And
Often.
if so, are you guys planning on incorporating some of your programming at their new space that should be built in hopefully the next foreseeable future?
Real easy answer. So yes, we've collaborated with them several times, and once they get that place open, we're ready to get in that space if they'll have us.
Okay, great deal. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinny. Carrie.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, on a general night, those numbers that you provided were awesome. On one night, what's the average crowd size? I'm just thinking like in terms of number of vendors.
Yeah, if the weather is good, we can expect anywhere from 500 to 1,000 people.
Awesome. And I've been plenty of times, so they're great. You guys
Now,
do great work.
when there's itinerant weather, we get beat up a bit. So we may have his somewhere from 50 to 200.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Ty.
Weekends are the best, and I think that's what we're aiming for this time around. Just are the weekends. I'm not against doing the weeknights, but Fridays, Saturdays, and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Those are usually really. We average at least 1,000 people on those every night.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, that's definitely going to be the business's question is, how much money is there, so
Right.
that's helpful.
And I also believe that NACOA would be able to give you some ideas around the data of the vendors who found, success when they did it. I particularly remember a woman who was a hot dog vendor. She sold out every single day.
Yep.
And she actually was, I want to say she was on NBC or something. Anyway, long story short, she might be able to give you some more details and data around Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Okay.
Good to see you. Good to see you, Nye. I know a lot of people here. Hello, everyone.
Carrie, I want those tequila guys to come back.
I think there was another question. Sorry, I missed it. Sorry.
I said, I want those tequila guys that were at the Christmas market.
If you can get them a permit, they'll come.
So we'll further lay that out, and but it sounds on both ends in terms of working through the jobs and then also the pop-ups. It sounds great. So thank you, Xavier.
So I say there's no darkness but ignorance. So thank you for shining a light. Little line from Twelfth Night. Big fan of Shakespeare and Marlowe. I wanted to find out obviously we talked about youth, we talked about employment. I'd like to see what other ways there are to activate and bring in getting youth engaged in theater. And there are a lot of programs and theater high schools, et cetera, and so on, but ways we can start introducing them to say, such as other conservatories within the greater metropolitan area, and ways you coordinate with them, if at all.
During the summer times, we do work with First Corinthians Baptist Church. They have what's called Dream Center. And that entire summer, we sponsor a youth theater program from the ages of 11 to 18. It is completely free. I like being able to sort of compare some of other summer programs that could be thousands of dollars. This one is completely free. And one of the things that we do with that summer program is that we generally, we've detoured every now and again, but we generally have those youth take the play that we are doing that particular summer, and they will do their own version of it. And then during the summer, as one of the pre-shows, they will come on stage, on the actual stage where we have the set and the mics and everything, and they'll do their sort of shortened version of Twelfth Night, since that's what we're doing this year. So, the kids get an opportunity to, counsel with us. We go to them while they're over at Dream Center, tell them about the life of an artist, and they get to be on a real stage with a real set, and just getting that sort of experience of what it is to have a life in the arts.
Wonderful, thank you. I'm going to drop my information in the chat if you wouldn't mind sending me an email. It'd be great to connect as many as possible. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Classical Theater of Harlem. So we will we'll follow up with a separate call in terms of planning and moving forward, and then obviously share out with our committee. But so happy that you guys are moving forward, and also that we are partnering and working to connect with you. So thank you guys, and we will be in contact in terms of next steps. But thank you so much for coming.
Fantastic.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Talk to everybody soon.
So next we have Bella Caracas. Are you on, Bella?
We're here.
Okay, great. So you, Bella is the CEO of Terra Kitchen. And Carrie, thank you for hosting us. And you have the floor, Bella. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody, for having us on. My name is Bella Caracas. I'm the CEO of Terra Kitchen. We're a flexible commercial kitchen based right here in East Harlem. It just as a FYI, we're sitting right inside La Marqueta at the moment. So if you do hear a lot of noise, it's the train. So here we go. So I add a little flavor to our presentation. So our first location was opened at 120th and 3rd Avenue last June. And we are literally in the midst of cleaning the former Hot Bread kitchen space so that we can be ready to open for the first official former Hot Bread members and now Terra members at La Marqueta as of 4 a.m. this morning. So we're right in the midst of it and took a little time out to come and speak to all of you. So second location is going to be open officially as of 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. So as I was saying, Terra Kitchen is a flexible commercial kitchen. We provide production space, storage, a small event space at our first location, and support services for a variety of food and beverage businesses, whether they're a startup, whether they're doing menu development, or a large enterprise is doing meal relief program or school lunches. We can support all of them. So a little bit of a presentation. We're gonna share.
Yeah, if they can allow us to share screen.
Yes, Marissa, if you could allow screen share.
You have the ability to share. Is there someone else that is?
Yes, so I neglected to introduce Stephanie Alvarez. She is with me now. Stephanie started with us as an intern from the Isaac Center and has since become a full-time member of Terra. By member, I mean employee of Terra. She's the kitchen facility coordinator, and she has been amazing. So say hi to Stephanie.
Hello, guys. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, great. I just didn't know if we needed another, if you want another separate call, so that's fine. So nice to
That's
meet you.
Yes, we're here
Fine.
together.
Can you guys see the video?
Yes.
All right, you let me know if you can hear it as well.
Okay, perfect.
Can you hear it?
Do not hear it.
You gotta go back to settings and hit the feature for audio on video
Yeah.
play.
Audio settings.
If you go to video, I think if you go to video settings, there's audio. And what is it? It is. Oh no. I think it's show in meeting options to enable original sound. I think that's what it is.
It's in settings. You gotta go to your audio. You gotta go to your video settings. It's in the video settings.
Right. So it's video settings, and then you go to audio. I think I
Yeah.
believe you see it. Okay.
Okay, let me see if you can hear it now.
Okay.
Hear now?
I do not. And you don't have earphones on or anything like that, right?
No.
Okay.
Apologies.
Let's see. I mean, if you want to just speak through it, you can. Let's see.
Would it be?
I'm just looking to see if there's anything else. And you guys do have, in terms of music and professional audio, you have selected show in meeting option to enable. Is that selected for you?
Yes.
Original sound? Okay. I'm sorry, I'm not IT. I gave all the recommendations I know, unless there's anyone else on that has anything else. Otherwise, I would say maybe you just want to speak to it.
That's fine. We can just, we can just talk a little bit about what we do and our backgrounds and answer questions. Apologies. So as I said, we opened the kitchen, the first location in June. This is not the first time for me to operate a shared kitchen. I was prior to this, I was a co-founder of a different brand, Shared Kitchen, and we opened 3 locations under that brand. 2 were in Northern Virginia and 1 in downtown Manhattan. And then because of partnership differences, we went our separate ways. So I've been in the shared kitchen world for 6 years now, and have helped a number of food entrepreneurs to succeed. So I'm excited about being in East Harlem and being able to support the small businesses that are now part of 2 kitchens, and look forward to partnering with other community organizations and working to provide opportunities to food entrepreneurs in Harlem. We've worked with Union Settlements. We appreciate all of the assistance that Carrie from Uptown Grand Central has provided to us since we've been here since June. And we look forward to supporting all of you in any and every which way, including if any of our members, if we can support our members to be part of the vendors at the park for 12th night, we would love to do that as well. Do you guys have any questions for us?
So I have, thank you for presenting. I have a few questions, I guess, based off of the conversation that we had. So I know you spoke a little bit about membership and I guess maybe some of the things that you've done. you know, how people can actually participate, or not participate, but actually make use of the kitchens. You could kind of talk to a little bit about that so people know and have a little bit more information.
Sure, sure. So we rent the kitchen based on membership model, and small food companies can become members of the kitchen. They pay a small semi-annual membership fee. I hope you guys are seeing at least the pictures as I'm talking. That's our
We're
first.
seeing, we're seeing the pictures. I see the kitchen currently. So
Yeah,
we
so
can-
that's the first location. And we're hoping that we can bring the hot bread space into a similar shiny, brand new kitchen. Working on it as we speak. Food companies become members of the kitchen. They pay a small semi-annual membership fee, and then they just commit to using the kitchen 20 hours a month. And having one dry storage shelf to keep their wares and non-perishables in the kitchen. And they can use it as much as they need. They can scale up or down as their business flows. Some people do catering, and as we all catering, or outside event vendoring. And those seem to really slow down and contract in January, February. And so members can kind of scale down their operation. So their minimum requirement is really 20 hours a month, which in catering terms, it's being in the kitchen maybe 4 times a month for 4 or 5 hour shifts. That's as little as they need to commit to. And as far as other support services, we provide them with assistance in getting their permits, helping them get the educational component, and business opportunities. So on the educational front, we have just launched our first Women in Culinary Mastermind group. It's starting officially April 5th. We have room for 8 food entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, to be in this cohort, which will last 14 weeks. With meetings every 2 weeks, and 4 different modules of instruction, which will cover areas such as finance, branding and development, wellness for women, menu development, and kitchen efficiencies. So key topics that are always top of mind for all of our members. And we're bringing in great instructors to work through with a small group, and also encouraging collaboration between the cohort members. And hopefully we will grow this program to 2 cohorts a year to support women food entrepreneurs.
Well, great. No, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that you were finished sharing the great information that you have with us. And just looking at the pictures, it seems like the kitchens are very involved and offer a lot of great space for culinary classes. So that's awesome, and very happy that you guys are doing that. So I have just a few questions for you, and congratulations. I know that you just recently held a wonderful event. I believe that took place already with Melba.
Yes.
Yes, and some other women. I also believe Laura Bell from
Laura
Bashar.
Perez was part of it, and
Yes.
Ayla Donchin of Evelyn's Kitchen. So all Harlem establishments.
Yeah, which was great, and happy to see that took place. So just have a couple of questions for you regarding the 8 slots that you had for the food entrepreneurship program. Are they all filled, or are you still accepting
No.
applications?
So they're not yet filled officially. We just announced it and opened the application process last Thursday. And so we've been making our rounds to let our members know first and foremost, and also putting it out to the community. And there seems to be a great interest in it.
Good. Okay, and the applications close when?
March 22nd. And the application, I can put it in the chat if anybody else is interested, or you have any referrals, or you'd like to open it to other people in the community. We'd love that. It's on our website, and I'll put the link to it.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And I know you had mentioned a number of different attributes and different, I guess, offerings for the program. Do businesses or individuals also get MWBE certified by any chance?
No, that's not part of the program.
Okay, all right, just wanted to
It's
ask.
something that could be part of it down the road, but with the right instructor or mentor that could help them to get certified, but that's not part of it at the moment.
Okay, no problem. And just one last question in regards to the membership. Is it on a scale? I guess like depending on the, I guess like the tax returns of a certain individual or a certain business, or is it the same fee for everyone in terms of membership?
Membership in the kitchen?
Yeah.
It's the same fee, and we've basically kept the fees that Hot Bread had given to their members pre-pandemic. So we kept it at the same rates for all of the legacy members that we've inherited.
Okay. And can you are you able to say what the fee
Sure.
is, or?
Sure. So, so the membership, the semi-annual membership fee is $300 for the 6 months. And the hourly rates are $23 an hour during the day and $18 for nighttime hours.
Okay, got it. And the fee you pay on top of your membership though, right? Is that, or?
Yes, you pay a membership fee once every 6 months, and then every month you're paying for your minimum 20 hours a month, and a member would let us know whether they're using it during the day or during nighttime hours, etc.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thanks so much. I'm going to go with Vinny.
Thank you. So can you tell me a little bit about the staffing for the program in terms of the amount of employees that are going to be at the site here?
In the kitchen?
Overall programming staff, kitchen staff, your entire employee roster. What are you guys staffing with? 5 people? 10 people?
It will be all told with porters about 10 people all told. So that includes some part-timers, because some porters only work nighttime hours or a couple of shifts a week, but it'll be about 10, maybe up to even 12, but that's including part-timers.
I got you. And did you bring on board any staffing that was on a previous Hot Bread Kitchen staff, or is this?
No, they as far as I know, we offered to interview their porters, but as far as I know, they took the porters with them to their current location.
Got it. And of those staff that you guys are onboarding, or already have onboarded, in terms of percentages, can you say what percentages of those employees might be from the area district of East Harlem?
We are still in the process of interviewing and hiring literally as we speak for the porters. So some we have 2 porters that are Harlem based, and some are Bronx based and from other locations. But I can't give you a specific number because we're still in the process of hiring for this new location.
Thank you.
Okay, and Alexis, did you have your hand up as well?
Yeah, just a quick question. So are you nonprofit like Hot Bread?
No, we're not. We are for-profit.
Ah, okay. So I'm going to ask you this because I saw your last name. Are you Greek?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, okay, because I had a woman that because I work with this woman, Maria Loy, who has a Greek restaurant in the East 50s, and she is very much about empowering women chefs. She's only been in this country 11 years herself. She's got this restaurant on 58th, and she has her own brand of food, etc. And I just thought I would like to connect you to her because I think she'd be interested in mentoring. She's somebody I work with as on
Sure,
the side.
absolutely. But no, I'm not Greek. I have a first name that's Italian, a last name that's Greek, but I'm actually from Ukraine originally. There you go.
Because I figured Maria's Greek, she jumped right on it. I saw Akis, and that's it.
Alexis, if you just want to drop your information in the chat, that would be
Yeah.
good.
That'd be great. I'll reach out.
And Bella, because you mentioned Ukraine, just prayers to that you have.
Thank you. Thank you. We're all watching with horror. I'm from Odessa, and Odessa has not yet been impacted as terribly as other cities in Ukraine, but we're like horrified.
No, as we all are, but yeah, absolutely. Just mentioning that. So
Thank you.
yeah. Are there any other questions for Bella? Okay, well, so Bella, thank you so much for presenting, and I think this kitchen will be utilized. Looking forward to passing on some information also about the entrepreneur program that you have coming up, and hoping that is filled to capacity, and I'm sure it will be. It sounds like a great offering for individuals who are interested in exploring their culinary skills and moving forward in that area.
Thank you so much. We're going to apologize. We're going to need to jump off because we have to go back to cleaning.
Absolutely. No, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Take care. Thank you so much for the invite. Take care.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Okay, so next, Xavier with the El Barrio Theater District. So the floor is yours. Xavier is the chair of Community Board 11, for those who do not know. Xavier, the floor.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Marissa. I'm a little bit more casual today. We're back in the field filming and everything, and I came home dashed and a bunch of different projects going on, and a few things. I did do a walkthrough with the Friends of La Marqueta this past Friday, so got to see all the cleaning and what they were doing with Hot Bread Kitchen. What I'm coming here now is to present to this committee, and we were hoping to have our Senator Serrano attend, but he's still knee deep in budget and legislation this session. Damaris Olivio from his staff is hoping he can be here for the April meeting. One of the things that we noticed, and my other hat, I serve as not just a producer who's hired locally in the city and nationwide, but also as the festival director for the International Puerto Rican Heritage Film Festival. We found that when we went back live, there is an incredible appetite for the arts here in our community. And many of you, whether you're aware or not, we have 4 theaters and they're not fully activated. They're used for either exhibiting actual theatrical performances or film and shows. The one that we know the most is El Teatro at El Museo. Some of you may have been there. It's a beautiful space with their murals, and they had it fully renovated right before the pandemic, and they had rented it out a few times. We have Julio de Burgos and that theater over there. We also have in Taino Towers, they have a theatrical space, although it's not as widely used as it once was back in the day. And we have the Poets Den. I've had conversations with our senator about it, as well as a few other interested parties. And there is a general appetite, like I said at the beginning, for people to activate and see these spaces used, whether they are to be incubator spaces, spaces for exhibition. Many people, and we lose a lot of commerce and activation of the arts to off Broadway and off Broadway for where we could actually be capitalizing on it here. As you may have seen the article by one of our previous chair emeritus, Eugene Rodriguez, I believe is the cousin of Debbie Quinones. He talked about this because he is himself a playwright, but having a conversation with him, and he's interested in coming to present to this body and committee as well, as ways we can use each of these spaces to activate prospective playwrights, filmmakers, and others, whether it's dealing with a film festival or exhibition on weekends. As many of you know, we don't have even a cinema. We don't. And that's something we've opined about, especially when it dovetails with activating 125th Street. And I think long-term, if we're to see a successful emergence, we should envision, and again, this is the committee, I'm asking you to explore this, interview, talk with people, how that can play a part. Because if you look at Taino Towers in the northeast part of the district, and then you come down to the Poets Den on 108, and then down to 106, where you come to Julio de Burgos, and then you go to El Teatro right over there on Fifth Avenue and 104. So I think these are ways we can engage, and then also to activate our creative individuals and not send those dollars, those rental fees, that down to the Great White Way, which is something that I've experienced firsthand. Yes, there is also a theater. Thank you very much, and the Academy of Medicine. I appreciate you mentioning that. So this is, but again, within activating these spaces is about accessibility, and I would ask this committee to have further conversations. We don't have to do that right now, but again, willing to engage. I can send you photos of where we played throughout the community. We also played in our fellow sister board, CB10, at the Schomburg Center, and they have a beautiful theater there. So I think this is ways we can, again, generate commerce in our community, incubate the arts, and create these great spaces here in Northern Manhattan. So again, that's really the quick elevator pitch. I'm pleased to have any questions if you want to have offline conversations, and hopefully we'll get Senator Serrano in, because he's very supportive of this. Senator Schumer has said that this would be a great way if we can get this area designated as a historic space. As well, that there would be dollars that could be sent to this community. So I think it's something worth considering for our, not just this committee, but the board, and with our sister board over in CB10.
Great, thank you, Xavier. I just have a quick question for you. Obviously, opening up questions to anyone else. I guess has Senator Serrano done any research or information about this, just so that we can kind of package it up to say, this is exactly what we have. These are the exact number of theaters and cultural institutions and what have you. Is that anywhere available already, or kind of what is the legwork that's been done already on the issue?
So I can't speak for what Senator Serrano has done fully and what he's in midstream. What I can say is that he is very open to any expression and supporting the arts here in this community. I tried to get him to express a little bit more, but as you saw the article, and I believe is the New York Daily News or the NY Post, I can't remember which one it was, but he did express about how it would be necessary to create this space. As it comes for the preliminary research, the Poets Den is a smaller, more of an incubator space that is about just on a sub 100. Taino Towers can accommodate more, as well can Julio de Burgos. And then when you get into El Teatro, you're dealing with close to 500, 600 seats. So you have a pattern to where you can grow any type of production or exhibition. The main thing is, I know with the Poets Den, what was expressed to me is that there was an issue with it being ADA compliant, which required capital funding. There's been outreach to the person who manages it within that co-op building. Let's see, the Taino Towers, I had reached out to Maria Cruz, waiting to hear back on how that space can be activated, but I think it's just general upkeep and then putting actual projects in that space. And so I think that's where it kind of is right now. El Teatro is being rented on a regular basis. Julio de Burgos, where I'm waiting for a return call on that. But with Senator Serrano, he's supportive, but he also looks, and he was very clear on this, he looks for direction from us. That's his big thing. He really, because he's dealing with so many things, one, and two, he just said, I want to hear what the people want. That's what he cares about. And with the redistricting we witnessed most recently, he's lost even more representation here in East Harlem. And now we have more of our Senator Cordell Clare and now Gianaris from Queens, having part of East Harlem and part of Upper East Side Yorkville. So we've got a bunch of different entities we can go to.
Okay, great, thank you so much. Are there any other questions for Xavier? Okay, Nye, did you want to ask a question? I see something in the chat.
It wasn't a question, it was just a comment. I just wasn't sure that this committee knew that actually Senator Serrano and then former Assemblymember Rodriguez actually presented on this specific topic a couple years back. So there may be information and to your point, Chair, legwork that was done previously, but they presented on the possible creation of this theater district in conjunction with several of the museums and cultural centers here. And then just as a follow-up, and it's more of a question, Xavier, is this just for those with a specific Puerto Rican heritage, or would places like the National Black Theater and others that are a part of our district be part of this potential project or initiative?
Isn't inclusivity the name of the game?
Okay, I just
So-
wanted to double check. I didn't hear NBT mentioned, and as someone in the
No,
north
it's
part of the district, I just wanted to make sure that we were going to be inclusive, because there's lots of beautiful places here that I don't even think everyone makes the most of. You know, even including like M&N and the Firehouse as a possibility. We have so many beautiful options here. So thank you.
Yep, absolutely. And inclusivity is the name of the game, and that's where a lot of this is. And again, we just, for example, with what we've seen with a lot of exhibition here is celebrating our mutual cultures and how we elevate one another. And I think that unity is our strength. And I know it's not an exclusive. And speaking further to Senator Serrano's presentation and former Assemblymember Rodriguez, that was some time ago, and there's some updates needed, which was actually I asked Senator Serrano when we had a chat on the phone. We were on about an hour conversation, and he's like, I got to get back to you on that, because I don't think much movement has happened since that point in time, which is why I think it's important for us to pick up the ball and run with it. So great question. I love working with you and everyone on this committee and the entire board.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, all right, well, thank you, Xavier.
Thank you, everyone.
I look forward to hearing more from you. So in regards to the next part of our discussion will be the mayor's preliminary budget that was presented. Giselle is going to be leading us in this part of our discussion and conversation as it relates to district needs and budget. So Giselle, I am going to pass it over to you, although it looks like, are you driving?
No, I am not.
Okay, I was like, in which case I'm not passing it over to you. Okay.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Marissa. So yes, I wanted to open up some discussion and look over, hopefully everybody got a chance to look over the agency responses that we received for our requests for 2023. And so I wanted to start. I don't know if anyone has any comments before we start, jumping in to look at the tracking codes. If everyone can also pull that up just so that they have it in front of their faces and, it's the language is familiar. So I'll start with 311-2023-03E. And this is, the request is to provide or expand occupational skills training program. There was additional information added about Career Discovery NYC. And so I wanted to see if anyone had some thoughts or if anyone knew anything further about what we had already written under Discovery, Career Discovery NYC. I had never heard of the program. I Googled it. It seemed like something very interesting. So And the response was the agency would try to accommodate the issue within existing resources. So I wanted to know what the committee felt about that and how we wanted to move forward. At this moment, though, we're not adding anything. We're just reviewing the responses. Okay, I'm gonna take that as a.
Sorry, I just paused because I know this is, I always know this is a rough part of the meeting, but I want everyone to, I know that just was the first one, but I would really like for everyone to try to participate. This is the last part of our meeting, but it is important that we at least, look at what's being presented. If you have any thoughts in regards to that, I would love to hear from you all as a committee as it relates to the information that's being presented, because this does inform our decisions about where our dollars are going and what we're doing in regards to the financial space for some of the resources that we need here to help further carry out our mission. So please be engaged and involved. If there's anything that you would like to add on, please do so, but I would really like it for everyone to participate in this discussion. So Giselle, specifically for this, I do feel like the response is somewhat generic, which we, often get, which is like, I'll try to look into that. That's just, a generic response for us. So I think, at least from my end, I'll just flag that to see if we can get some more specificity around, what does that mean specifically? And, what does that look like? But that would be my take.
Okay. I'm just gonna make a note of that. Hold on. Okay. Moving on to the next tracking code, we're looking at 3/11/2023, 14E. The request is to assist with on-site business compliance with city regulations, and we also received a generic response. But I feel like as a committee, we're moving towards a direction of addressing this. Marissa had mentioned in the last meeting, we had made a motion on passing a cap on fines for, what fits as a small business. And so I think that even though the response is generic, I feel like the committee is moving in a direction where, we'll be addressing this sooner than later. Any other thoughts or? The next tracking code is 3/11/2023, 23C, and it's to invest in infrastructure that will support growth in commercial business districts. Our response was more information was needed from the community board before making a funding decision. And so, as a committee, we could begin to explore ways how we can support this study and pretty much, when it's time to talk to these city agencies, we already know kind of where they're at. So, our approach, we could start to discuss that. Does anybody have any thoughts about this tracking code?
I would say for this one, I know we're not making changes at this time, but I think like our ask needs to be like a bit more specific. And that we need to flesh this out a little bit more on our end when the time comes for us to do that. Just so that a specific can be given. But I think our ask here is kind of broad. So if we could just make a note to just like revisit this specific item, that would be helpful to do.
Okay. The next tracking code that we're looking at is 3/11/2023, 23E. And it is the request for the extension of library hours and to expand library programs and enhance library collections. The response was that NYPL is in favor of this project. But of course, the funding is not certain and we would need to contact NYPL. In my personal opinion, I feel like NYPL has been great at, attending our meetings and giving us updates. So I don't think that would be a problem if we, follow up with them again and just continue to see what the updates are on that. So.
I think one thing we can do, Giselle, because I agree with you completely. We've had Palmer come and present a number of times to us, specifically as it relates to the 145th Street branch closer to 3rd Avenue here. But I do think we should also engage our other libraries as well, just to see, kind of like how they're doing and what they anticipate now that we are somewhat coming out of the COVID environment. I know that libraries are now open, but not sure of what their, what their long-standing plans are. So I will note that for us to follow up and like get more information. But I know that they are open. Many of them are moving forward with programming. So I think that that's something that we could kind of check off and see that that has taken place.
Okay, that's noted. The next tracking code that we're looking at is 311-2023-24C. This would be a capital expense, and the request is other capital budget request for EDC. This is specifically in reference to redeveloping La Malqueta, just into a robust commercial and recreational space. Our response was further study by agency is needed. And so maybe, Marissa, we should also be a little bit more specific in our ask. I'll make a note of that.
I agree.
Okay. Moving on to the next one. 311-2023-32E. The request was to expand programs in emerging and legacy industries such as fashion, film, life sciences. Our response was more information is needed from the community board before making a funding decision. And maybe we can also be a lot more specific when it comes to our ask in this case as well.
I agree, and I also think incorporating some of what Xavier just mentioned, right, in regards to our theater district and the needs in that area could be included in the ask too. So, yeah, something to look deeper into.
I apologize for the train noise in the back. The next tracking code is 311-202348E, and it is to support local CBOs' efforts to improve a public space through management, maintenance, and programming. Our response from SBS was that SBS is available for technical assistance. A sponsor group should apply to the agency through its funding process. I was myself a little confused about that response, but maybe anyone has some ideas or clarity on that response.
Yeah, I don't have any further information, and I also wasn't aware that. I feel like our ask was more so about funding for organizations, and the response was more of like a technical, not. I'm not sure that they knew what we were asking, so I don't want to put it all on SDS to say that the response wasn't in tandem with what we were asking. But I think for us, our ask needs to be more so that there is more support for our nonprofits and NGOs in our community through programs and resources. So not sure that response really goes with that. So let's look at that.
Okay, noted. Our last request is 311-2023-49E, And it is to, and it states other businesses regulatory assistance requests. Our response was that the agency will try to accommodate this issue within existing resources. Also a very generic response, but I feel that maybe as a committee, we just need to be much more specific in our asks. And so when we speak to the city agencies, we'll just, I mean, the request will sound more put together and they'll know exactly what they're talking about, because it can be very vague. And then also I had a question. When we say being specific, how specific should we be in our requests?
Well, I mean, I think for us, it could be, for example, right? Like we could add, for example, or similar to, just to kind of guide them as to what we're looking for. So if we're saying, looking for support, similar to the support that was given previously by the last administration, right? We can take the example of, more support for our NGOs around cleaning and sanitation, right? And then in that request, then we would say, specific to the support that's been given around the cleanup for 125th Street, through what have you, right? And then that's something that they can say, okay, this is specifically like what they're looking for, or this is a program where, they know that worked, and so now they're looking for something in regards to that. So I think adding that in, or specific examples, allows us to then say, this is what we are looking for in terms of support in whatever area that is, and allows them to possibly even answer a little better than, like we're looking into it, or, this is
yes.
what we like to do. So, Carrie.
I was just gonna say, until this cleanup core became a reality, like I didn't even know this was a way that the city could address the problem, which is kind of interesting that COVID kind of gave us the solution we didn't know, because previously it was just based on how much money that the discretionary funding we could get from the council member. But now we have been shown that if the mayor's office wants to create a program that gets job trainees onto 125th Street, that can happen. It used to be that we would get, the Department of Sanitation would get people that were kind of like on work release from various parole programs and things like that. And, so this is definitely a different program that was created, but I'm sure the city has numerous programs where they hire, sanitation hires laborers for snow removal and for, for storms and things like that. So the city has the power to do that. So it is a possibility. So it's just interesting that this is it can be a request that we be sent more workers.
And on top of that, I mean, right now there have been numerous complaints throughout the city in regards to trash and sanitation anyway, right? So even if this is something to help alleviate that, then that's another way to kind of request that, because that's been an issue, like throughout the city, and that's separate to what you guys have been doing on 125th. So to add on top of that, if there's any way to kind of lower those numbers or lower those, complaints about the amount of trash that the city is seeing, then I would say, then that's an argument, for that. So.
Absolutely, and the trash is created like it's much of the city has created the problem, so the city should clean it up,
That's what I think.
That's very true. Thank you, Carrie.
Not to editorialize or anything,
Absolutely, that's a quote right there. So, yeah, I think that's, to answer your question in regards to us, being specific, it's providing examples, it's saying, such as, And it doesn't even have to be something that's already created, right? It can also be things that we think of that we think are, that would make sense, right? So for instance, we are creating this letter, thinking about capping the fines for small businesses, right? And so that's something that we can put in as an example, and say, for example, capping fines on businesses or what have you. So I think just adding that in as a layer of transparency, and then also kind of guides the response in the direction that we want.
Okay, that sounds like a plan. So we in total have 8 requests between expense and capital. And I've made a note of pretty much everything that you and the committee have suggested. And so I will get this back to Angel ASAP.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And thank you, Marlene.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so now we are moving on. And I think we're wrapping up. So Marlene, I guess if you could share, thank you.
It just takes a few seconds to switch screens.
No problem, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is not actually, there's no discussion around this. I think I stated earlier in the meeting that there are 2 letters that are being created, one around quality of life concerns, and then as we just discussed in regards to capping the fines for small businesses. So no real discussion here, but is there anyone else with any old business that they'd like to discuss or bring up? If not, we'll move to the next slide. Okay, is there any new business that anyone has or would like to bring up? Okay. All right, so moving forward, Marlene, if you want to do the roll call, and then we will say goodnight.
Sure. Adem Briha.
Here.
Eva Chan.
Here.
James Horton.
Here.
Marissa Mack.
Here.
Giselle Malave.
Here.
Jennifer Meyer.
Here.
Roberto Perez.
Here.
Vinny Torres. Jenny Tromsky. And Nye Whitaker. Does anyone know if Vinny left? I don't see him, but he's noted as absent twice, but I know he was on because he raised his hand many times.
Yes, he is no longer on.
Okay. All right. I'll see. I have questions on he was present during the meeting, so I'll know he's here.
Okay. All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for your help. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. Have a good rest of your week. Thanks for accommodating the change. Have a good night.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Great meeting, guys.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.